1. Sociology without history is rootless and history without sociology is fruitless. Elaborate. Introduction. Sociology is a social science that studies human societies, their interactions, and the processes that preserve and change them. It does this by examining the dynamics of constituent parts of societies such as institutions, communities, populations, and gender, racial, or age groups. Sociology also studies social status or stratification, social movements, and social change, as well as societal disorders in the form of crime, deviance, and revolution. History is a narration of the events which have happened among mankind, including an account of the rise and fall of nations, as well as of other great changes which have affected the political and social condition of the human race. Understanding sociology. Sociology is the study of human social relationships and institutions. Sociology's subject matter is diverse, ranging from crime to religion, from the family to the state, from the divisions of race and social class to the shared beliefs of a common culture, and from social stability to radical change in whole societies. Unifying the study of these diverse subjects is sociology's purpose of understanding how human action and consciousness both shape and are shaped by surrounding cultural and social structures. Sociology is an exciting and illuminating field of study that analyses and explains important matters in our personal lives, our communities, and the world. At the personal level, sociology investigates the social causes and consequences of such things as romantic love, racial and gender identity, family conflict, deviant behavior, aging, and religious faith. At the societal level, sociology examines and explains matters like crime and law, poverty and wealth, prejudice and discrimination, schools and education, business firms, urban community, and social movements. At the global level, sociology studies such phenomena as population growth and migration, war and peace, and economic development. Understanding history. History is the study of the past, specifically the people, societies, events and problems of the past, as well as our attempts to understand them. It is a pursuit common to all human societies. Historians, who study history, do study the causes and effects of past events and circumstances leading to social change and development. To Mallari, 2013, the term history is embedded into numerous interrelated aspects. Firstly, history is the past or things that happened in the past, and secondly, history as a narrative tells events that happened in the past. Various thinkers describe history as the study of the human past based on archaeological evidence. It is important to understand that this so-called past has its own social, cultural, political and economic aspects. Historians look at types of societies, their structure, culture, civilization and politics human societies had, and developed over some time. Historical sociology. Historical sociology is a branch or subdiscipline of sociology. It emerged, during the 20th century, primarily as a result of the intersection between sociology and history. Historical sociology as a subfield of sociology is likely to make two major contributions to the discipline. First, it can fruitfully historical sociological analysis, helping to situate any sociological analysis historically. Secondly, it will help to draw on important social issues which critically require historical analysis but are somehow avoided or remain neglected in sociological analysis. Sociologists often talk of the context while studying or explaining society in terms of its structure, functions and changes. Here, time and space are two important factors which inherit and explain the contextual aspects of social reality. Time is a crucial factor in explaining the evolution of social reality as social realities get shaped over time. Since history takes care of factors such as time or the periodical evolution of societies, it essentially helps sociologists to study society in a much more systematic fashion. It helps sociologists in providing a rationale to articulate the present status and developmental trajectory of a society. Various sociologists such as Comte in his Law of Three Stages, Spencer in his analysis of the evolution of societies, Weber in his elaboration of ideal types and growth of the city, and Marx in his analysis of class conflict and social changes, have used historical dimension in their sociological analysis. Hence, history and sociology are closely related to each other. However, we may also note that both the disciplines differ in their nature and approaches, nevertheless intersect or crisscross each other on many points. As resultantly, historical sociology emerged as an offshoot of such an intersection between the two disciplines. History and sociology interrelations. Sociologists often refer to history to explain social changes, developments and changing phases of society over some time. Similarly, history also needs social aspects, sociological concepts, to explain the past. Social change is a reality. It has to happen. History shows a mirror or a truer way to analyze it concerning time and space. History is said to be a constant reminder of the fact that change, even though permanent, is irregular and unpredictable. History thus provides a frame of reference and contextual tool to examine and analyze change carefully. Both sociology and history thus depend on each other to take complete stock of reality. Sociology is also concerned with the study of historical developments in society. Sociologists study ancient cultures, civilizations, groups and institutions through historical analysis and interpretations. The development of sociological theories is traced to 19th and 20th century historical developments at the level of philosophy, epistemology and progressive thinking. Specifically, sociological theories have been a product of the intellectual, social, cultural and political climate within which they were developed. For instance, the Enlightenment was a period of remarkable intellectual development. Differences between history and sociology. Historians emphasize their findings as time-space localized, whereas sociologists believe their understanding transcends the space-time dimension. Thus, the major difference between sociology and history is the data or evidence put for analysis. Goldthorpe argues that history and sociology are two significantly different intellectual enterprises. He concludes that it is wrong to consider sociology and history as one. History in no sense is a natural science like sociology. It does not seek colorless units. It is said that history interprets whereas natural science explains. Historians collect concrete and interpret it as a unique phenomenon, whereas sociologists work on hypotheses, classify and arrange data in relevant and different categories to explore and formulate the typical propositions. It is said that sociologists have a craving for numbers, and historians for dates and words. Sociologists recognize rules and ignore variations, whereas historians stress the individuals and specific. Many scholars called history the concrete and descriptive science of society. History attempts to construct a picture of the social past. On the other hand, sociology is said to be an abstract and theoretical science of society. The scope of sociology in this respect is considered broader than history. Sociology is not only concerned with the social present, but with the social past too. Conclusion: historical sociology as an outcome of the intersection of both disciplines has emerged. It is also described that historical sociology as a branch of sociology has critically contributed to the growth of an interdisciplinary scholarship. Many sociologists, from the beginning of sociology as a major discipline, such as Marx, Weber, Durkheim, And later on, Castells, Amin, Frank, and Blount, as discussed, have elaborately contributed to this field. In nutshell, both sociology and history, though being two different disciplines in the domain of social sciences, are very much closely interrelated and complement each other's field of study. नमस्कार और मेरे YouTube चैनल में आपका स्वागत है। मैं आपको यहाँ पाकर और अपनी कंटेंट आपके साथ शेयर करने के लिए बहुत उत्साहित हूँ। हालांकि, मैंने देखा कि आप में से केवल 7.9% लोगों ने ही मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब किया है। इसका मतलब है कि आप में से 92.1% लोग न्यू वीडियोस एंड अपडेट से वंचित हैं। इसलिए, यदि आपने अभी तक सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है, तो कृपया क्लिक द सब्सक्राइब बटन, ताकि जब मैं नए वीडियो अपलोड करता हूं, तो आपको सबसे पहले पता चले, और आप कभी भी किसी भी अपडेट एंड एक्साइटिंग कंटेंट से नहीं चूकें। लेकिन आपको मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब क्यों करना चाहिए? खैर, सबसे पहले, मेरा चैनल इग्नू के सोशियोलॉजी के बारे में है। मैं टिप्स, ट्यूटोरियल्स और इनसाइट्स कंटेंट आपसे शेयर करता हूं जो आपकी मदद करता है सोशियोलॉजी को अच्छे से जानने के लिए। इसके अलावा, मैं हाई क्वालिटी कंटेंट बनाने में बहुत टाइम एंड एफर्ट लगाता हूं जो इन्फॉर्मेटिव एंड एंटरटेनिंग दोनों है। और मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करके, आप मेरे ऑडियंस को बढ़ाने और मेरे वीडियोस के साथ और भी लोगों तक पहुंचने में मेरी हेल्प करें। इसलिए, यदि आपने अभी तक सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है, तो कृपया अभी सब्सक्राइब करें। और अगर आप पहले से ही सब्सक्राइबर हैं, तो आपके सपोर्ट के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। कृपया मेरे वीडियो को अपने दोस्तों और परिवार के साथ शेयर करें और मेरे चैनल के बारे में प्रचार करने में मेरी मदद करें। Remember to hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss a new update, and I'll see you in the next video.
2. Explain historical sociology as a subdiscipline of sociology. Historical sociology is a branch or subdiscipline of sociology. It emerged as a result of the intersection between sociology and history. This boundary-crossing phenomenon has led to the development of a subfield named historical sociology. Historical sociology uses history in its analysis. Furthermore, it may be noted that the issues of change and growth in families, kinship issues, migration, the dowry system, etc., all have pasts that have influenced their present status. This past holds important clues to understanding the present status of the problem or issue under consideration. Historical sociology has been interested in how people, communities, and societies have been changing over time and how they have transformed themselves into contemporary modern societies. How have the great transformations such as imperialism, the Renaissance, the French Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution shaped the modern world? For example, Max Weber, in his study, The City, published way back in 1921, used the historical paradigm to examine the role of the city as a carrier of modern capitalistic economies and as a precursor to the modern nation-state. Besides the critical contributions of earlier sociologists in drawing their theoretical propositions on the line of history, it is said that George Ballandier in France and Robert Nisbet in America were pioneers to draw attention to the relevance of historical perspective. The idea of a distinct subfield called historical sociology is said to have emerged during the 20th century. It primarily developed due to the distinction that sociologists started to make between evidence that comes from direct observation of the present and evidence that comes from indirect observation of the past. Historical sociologists began to make sense of the present in relation to the past. For instance, Jürgen Habermas has interpreted developments related to modern history in his work, The Theory of Communicative Action. Furthermore, many scholars, like Samir Amin, James M. Blount, Jack Goody, and Andre Gunder Frank, worked in the field of historical or political sociology. They explored the history of the emergence of the modern world to contest the privileged place of Europe in human social thought and affairs. They essentially challenged the idea that modernity evolved in Europe and then spread to the rest of the world. Within the domain of historical sociology, they contested the time and space binaries and disputed the very idea of a Eurocentric notion of development to bring out the critical role played by indigenous peoples beyond Europe and America. Historical sociology, which essentially goes to history to understand a problem, is critically important to the growth of interdisciplinary scholarship to widen the spectrum of knowledge creation. Historical sociology, as a subfield of sociology, is likely to make two major contributions to the discipline. This will not only add value to the analysis but also ground the sociological analysis contextually by specifying their time and space limits and thus attaching the same to other empirical generalizations. Secondly, a greatly broadened historical sociology will help to draw on important social issues that critically required historical analysis but somehow avoided or remained neglected in sociological analysis. Many sociologists advocate that history should inform sociological analysis or the sensibilities of the sociologist not only while studying social evolution, change in culture and civilization, or developmental tradition but even when we are studying stability or everyday life reality.